I don't think you have to worry about overpenetration. At least that's not what your girl told me or your mom. Hey everybody, welcome to Shooting the Shit with Yankee. As always, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Today's topic is over penetration. You know, like you shoot the bad guy, the bullet goes clean through him and hits somebody behind him, and now you're liable for hurting somebody that was an innocent bystander. Is that real? Is that something you should be concerned about? Is there any example of it ever really happening? Or is it just something people made up to have something to talk about? Or is it some people say because they don't really understand what is more likely to happen? That's what I want to know from you guys. What do you think? Is it something you're concerned about? Is it something you don't even give a thought to? Or do you like choose your caliber based on it? Like I wouldn't carry a 44 or a 10 millimeter to overpenetrate. Or, you know, I don't like this type of round because of these solid copper rounds, they overpenetrate. Do you make decisions based on it? Or do you just, like I said, think it's more myth than anything else? So let me know. I'm going to weigh in first here, as always, to get the ball rolling. And I'm going to say that overpenetration is a big pile of dookie. It is nothing you need worry about. There's hardly any handgun calibers that are going to go all the way through a person and then still be deadly on the other side. And that's even if someone was on the other side of them. What's the chance someone's going to be directly on the other side of somebody you're shooting at? Hopefully they're getting down, getting away, not getting down like dancing, getting down like getting behind cover or running away. So chances of someone being directly behind them, not very big. And here's the thing, even if they were behind them, your chances of hitting the bad guy and it going through and hitting them is way less than you just missing the bad guy and hitting somebody in the background. If you're afraid to shoot because of over-penetration, and I've had people say they won't shoot if there's somebody behind them because they're afraid they'll over-penetrate and hit an innocent bystander. If you're afraid to shoot because of over-penetration if other people are around, then you're just going to be afraid to shoot, period, because your chances of missing and hitting someone is greater than over penetrating and hitting somebody else. So if you're like, I won't take a shot if there's other people in the background unless I know my round is so not too powerful and won't over penetrate, well, then you ain't going to shoot at all because the chances of you missing are far greater than over penetrating. These people that say, oh, well, this goes 20 inches deep in gel and people are only 10 inches thick, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but people are more solid. We got muscles and bones and organ tissue. We're not made of gel. I've seen tests before where people are like, oh, I won't use those extreme penetrators because they go too deep. They'll go through a hog. And then someone goes out and does tests with hog cartridges, carcasses, and penetrates like 3-4 inches because it hits a shoulder blade or a bone or a heavy muscle tissue. We are not made out of gel. So going all the way through a body and then actually having enough momentum to do serious injury to anyone at any distance behind you, just nothing to worry about. It's just one of those things people make up so they have something to talk about and to fret over. With that being said, I'm going to go see what other people have to say, see if anybody disagrees with me. Gummy Wuzzle said over penetration is a danger. Otherwise, it would just be penetration. I guess that's a weird sort of logic, but I don't think you have to worry about overpenetration. At least that's not what your girl told me or your mom. Flash in the pan, overpenetration worries me. I would worry about what I might hit on the other side. Yeah, I think I wouldn't be too worried about that if I was you. I'd be more worried about missing and hitting something on the other side. Tim Allen, I think that the fear of overpenetration is overblown. I think the fact that it exists at all is overblown because there's just, and then there's like one case of a sniper supposedly shot through a hostage and while shooting the bad guy. And I'm like, I've never been able to find proof of that. And then there's another one where they're like, oh, we hit the bad guy, but it would overpenetrate and hit the person behind them, one of the hostages. And I'm like, well, no, in that It looks like you grazed the underside of his arm, which is basically you missed him and you shot one of the hostages behind him, which is basically what I'm saying. Kenneth Donaldson chimed in, but he didn't say nothing. Gummy Wuzzle weighed in again, said, any statistics on over-penetration deaths? None that I've ever been able to find any solid, measurable statistics on. And if Bloomberg could find some, they would be making an argument how we got to outlaw powerful ammo or solid copper or blah, blah, blah. Kenneth Donaldson weighed in again, didn't say that. John Mandrick chimed in, said, for me, it is as I live in a townhouse, but I'm not worried about it going through people. Paul Harrell told me that how many layers of fleece I need. Well, that's true. You do need a certain layer of fleece, or just wet wool. Wet wool's very. You know how many people in the World War II were saved, and World War I were saved by the heavy wool coats they would wear when they got wet? That was like poor man's body armor back in the day. Story after story after story after story. And I've met some people that have stories like that. Here, my grandfather was a World War II, Korea, and Vietnam survivor. All of his friends were ex-soldiers. So that's why I had an inside scoop on all the stories. But yeah, I think that's a different type of overpenetration. Like if you're worried about missing a bad guy and it going through a wall and hitting someone on the other side because you like live in an apartment or a townhouse or a condo, I think that's a different aspect of overpenetration. And even then, not that big of a issue. Even going through 2 pieces of drywall really slows down, and especially for insulation, really slows down a bullet from a handgun. So I wouldn't be shooting AR-15s or anything if I didn't have to, or I wouldn't be shooting, 45-70 lever guns inside the house at people. But Edgar Cortez said, depending on the gun's power, type of ammo, ball versus soft ammo, and the target, types of clothes, over-penetration can be an issue. I've never seen it be one. But I haven't seen everything in the world. Never seen a woman that doesn't complain. Some people say they exist. I ain't never seen them. Mr. Furley said, exaggerated. Real life always trumps theories. Real life always trumps theories. I thought he was talking about Trump there for a minute. For somebody, I was like, what's Trump got to do with this? You Trump derangement syndrome person. I was bringing him into this, but he was using it as a verb, not the noun. Adriel said, yes, hollow points or extreme defender in carry gun. Okay, I'm not sure what he means there. Yes, he does choose his ammo based on he's worried about over. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know what's going on. I barely have an idea what the topic is right now. I've only had 2.5 hours sleep since I saw y'all yesterday. Dale Riggedy said, I worry more about what is beyond my target than over penetration. What if I miss? Well, you're more likely to miss. Like if you're going to shoot at them and they move and you hit the person behind them, that's far more likely than shooting through them and hitting somebody. Far, far more likely from every statistic I've seen. Heavy J, and if it's happened, Dale Rickety should have seen it. He's 107 years old. He's seen most things. Heavy J, it's like a FUD myth or stigma, in my opinion. I kind of agree with that. I got the hiccups. Edgar Cortez, a case of Kel-Tec 9mm carbine killings, 2 teenagers with 1 round in Georgia was presented today on television. 2 teenagers with 1 round. What? Killing 2 teenagers with 1 round in Georgia. Yeah, it's not very likely. And especially if they hit somewhere that's vital, it's not going to go through and kill 2 people. I think that's a bullshit story. I'd have to see the story first, but I'm going to call bullshit. I'm going to call shenanigans until I read it. Kenneth Donaldson said, No, I use 357 SIG to take care off. So he's not worried he's carrying a more powerful caliber, I guess is what he's saying there. In South Carolina, you're liable for all damages your bullet does. That's in several states. That's the truth. But there's also a lot of states though, but there's, if the threat you were stopping or responding to is greater than the threat posed by your bullet or the harm caused by your bullet, it's a little different. It's not so cut and dried, but Leonidas chimed in but didn't say nothing. Looks like we got our last person weighing in here, and it is Ghost Shadow. It seems like it's been kind of back and forth. Some people are worried about it, some people aren't. It is a real issue as long as chance is not zero. Overpenetration can be mitigated by round or caliber choice. So could just not carrying a gun. If you decide to take a shot at a bad guy, bigger chance that you'll hurt somebody else than if you just ran away and didn't take a shot at a bad guy. So if you didn't have a gun in the first place to where you felt like you should stand your ground, shoot, you can mitigate the risk even more. I don't deal with risk mitigation that way. I don't decrease my ability to respond to a threat simply because something insane might happen. And I'd be willing to bet the statistical risk is probably pretty much is just about zero mathematically. I bet it is zero. If you take all the times people have shot bad guys and how many times has it actually overpenetrated, hurt someone, I bet you the chance of it happening is actually statistically zero because it'd be so small. And, hitting someone like right here under the arm and it just grazing them and hitting someone behind them, that's not overpenetration. That's missing. But that looks like that's it for today on this side of the tracks here. How about you all out there in the live chat? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Do you think overpenetration is anything that's likely to happen? Do you think it's just more myth than anything else? Is it something you think about? Is it something you make your decisions based on? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to weigh in on one of these chats in person, come to our live chats. We do them every night at 6 p.m. Come on in, weigh in on the topic of the day. Django's leaving. I guess he's tired of me talking. Weigh in on the chat of the day, topic of the day, and stick around for the after chat. We do an after chat immediately after this. We don't really sign off. I just sign off for the cameras, and then we start on the open chat. So come in for the main topic and stick around for the open chat afterwards. Hope to see y'all to chat soon, and thanks to everybody that did come today and participated. I will see you all again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.